Man, bombshells dropped all over college football yesterday, and I'm not talking about which teams got in or didn't get into the playoffs. I'm talking about established star quarterbacks hitting the transfer portal, starting with my guy, Oklahoma's Dillon Gabriel, Ohio State's Kyle McCord, Washington State's Cam Ward, who threw a party on Deion's Colorado at the end of the year, Duke's Riley Leonard, Oregon State's DJ Uwe, and Kansas State's Will Howard. I could go on, but speaking of Deion, he now says he wants to go into the portal to get veteran quarterbacks, plural, he says, as in multiple, to back up his son Shadur, who, of course, is still recovering from a back injury, but who, with his brother Shiloh, definitely is committed to playing another year at Colorado. So, Keyshawn, you're close to this. You're involved in NIL. What is going on with all these big names hitting the portal?
Well, everybody's a little bit different, right? You take the kid, Dante Moore out here at UCLA, who's a true freshman. He's from the East Coast. He's from the D.C., Maryland area.
That's a good point.
And he was up and down with Chip Kelly, bench, in, out. So he's homesick. Okay, so now he's leaving because of that.
Fair enough.
He's not chasing money.
No.
But then there's other guys in the portal that decides, okay, you talk about Dillon Gabriel. Is he looking at Mississippi State?
Because
is he looking
his coordinator, Jeff Levy, is now the head coach there, and it was his coordinator at UCF and his previous
So now you got a coordinator who has left UCF to Oklahoma to Mississippi State. Now, is he eyeing USC or is he eyeing Mississippi State? So it's everybody.
Or eyeing the highest bidder. Go ahead.
Or the highest bidder. It all just depends on what an individual is searching for and looking for. You look at the quarterback out of Duke, the kid out of Duke in Riley Leonard. It's rumored that the Notre Dame cash flow has kicked in.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player, but is he really chasing that $3 million that's allegedly out there aligning his pocket with the car dealership, or is that just a rumor? I think when you talk about this portal, there's so many different things that go on with guys wanting to leave. You look at DJU out of Oregon State. He leaves Clemson, he comes to the West Coast. His coach leaves and goes to Michigan State. Is he going to follow his coach to Michigan State? So I think when you start to look at this again, they all leave and get into the portal for different reasons. I don't want to make it all about the NIL because it's not always about the NIL. It's about how you treat it. Do you trust? Are coaches leaving? And do I have an opportunity to cash in and make more money in college than I would potentially my rookie year if I come out and go in the 4th round, the 5th round? Yes, that is the case, because many of these guys that are on this list are not first-round talent in terms of quarterback. Some of them aren't even second-round talent, but they'll make more money in their juniors and senior years than they would in their first and second year in the National Football League. So I don't blame them. If it's there for the taking, capitalize on it. Just know, I've watched a lot of guys leave schools that had productivity, Sherm, and when they got to those new schools, it didn't work out the way that they thought it would.
Right. And I mean, it's getting kind of crazy. I'm all for everybody getting their money. Get your money. But these are the top names and the top guys. So, of course, they're going to get their money, Key. But it's those guys that aren't on these highlights that are getting thrown by the wayside and think they're going to go grass is greener on the other side. And it really isn't. And that's why I think NCAA President Charlie Baker just proposed a new rule of these top schools that have the greatest resources in the NCAA, these, the SECs, the Bamas, the Ohio States, the Texases, the teams that make the most money. They're trying to create a subdivision for them to govern this now. Hey, you can put $30,000 into a trust for this. Because it has to be Title IX. All the athletes have to benefit from it. So they're going to be able to put a certain amount of money away for other athletes as well outside of football. But they're really trying to govern the recruitment, the roster size, the NIL, just the transfer portal, because it's really getting out of hand. You can't build a team this way when guys, hey, you just had a great season. You feel like you coached them well, you treated them well, you did everything you could do. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, they're offering me more money. I'm going to leave. And so, it's just not a sustainable system right now, and the NCAA should have been done this. The reason why it's the Wild Wild West right now is because the NCAA took too long. They were too greedy early on and said, you know what, we're not going to pay these guys anything. We're going to keep all the money for ourselves and give it to coaches and give it to whoever we want, but we're not giving it to the student athlete. And now the system broke.
It did.
And they have to deal with it. And now they're trying to rail it back in. But, I mean, this is a good start.
Keyshawn, you're discounting the money angle here, though. You say it's not always about the money.
It really isn't, Skip. It really isn't. I mean, when a lot of kids, there's a kid, and I'm not going to mention his name at all, but there's a kid that went to a university, and it wasn't about the money when he got into the portal. It was about his opportunity. He didn't want to be in a rotation. They told him when he was at the university, don't worry, you're going to play, you're going to blah, 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 blah. He played a little bit, and he flashed, but he didn't want to be in a rotation. Yeah. So he said, I'm out. Okay. I don't want to be in a rotation. So he came to a certain university to make sure he wasn't in a rotation, not to chase money. That's why I'm saying, you know, it's not always about the money.
Okay, but it looks to me like, to Richard's point and to Charlie Baker's point, that in the wild, wild west that we're now in, happily so, because finally these kids are getting their money.
Man, maybe they get paid.
They're getting paid. Finally. It took years. I've been campaigning for this for like 50 years. Not only are they getting paid, but there are no strings attached because they're all playing on effectively one-year deals because as soon as the year's up, they can jump right back in the portal and say, who else out there? I had a good year at Oregon State or whatever, you know, whoever. Who wants me? I had a good year at Washington State. Who wants me? I'll go to the highest bidder. And then the other thing that happened, I was shocked as a hardcore Oklahoma fan. I thought Dillon Gabriel was out of eligibility. And because of COVID, it's like they can play for 9 years now. I don't know. It seems like Dillon Gabriel's been playing for 9 years. And he's got another, he's got another year left? Yeah, he's got another year. So with all these extra years and the ability to move through the portal, well, a lot of these quarterbacks are saying, well, I'll try it again. I'll go to the highest bidder a second time or a third time. I'll move again. Well, Keyshawn, you got a problem with that? Or
no.
That's why Charlie Baker's saying we need some ground rules here because at some point they're going to want contracts where if we give you your big NIL deal, you have to stay for X year, whatever their negotiation would.
I don't have a problem with it at all, Skip. But remember what I said. A lot of these players that are entering into the portal, let's talk about the quarterbacks, for instance. These aren't first-round guys. Caleb Williams went once because his coach left.
He did.
Right? So he's the top 5 pick. Those guys aren't moving. Dillon Gabriel, God bless his soul. Yeah. Good quarterback.
You know what? He's really good. I think he throws it better than Tua does. He's just not as big as Tua. So at 5'11", what's his future? I don't know. He can run. Trust me, he can run.
He can do a lot of great things, but his grade isn't going to change so significantly by moving schools. So he may be leaving to look after the money. Because he's not going to go from a 4th-round grade to a bottom 1st round. It's just not going to happen.
No.
You don't make that type of jump come draft grading time. So when you start the DJU, as big as he is, we saw him at Clemson early on, replaced Trevor Lawrence. We're like, oh, okay. I watched him here in Los Angeles at St. John Bosco. He's not going in the 1st round. No. He doesn't have a 1st-round grade.
He had a nice year at Oregon State.
He had a nice year, but they already got a book on him. They've already made a decision on what he's going to be at the next level.
Okay, and finally, I just saw an ESPN list of ranking the portal quarterbacks, and Kyle McCord, who started for Ohio State the whole year, is 8th on the list. That's why Michigan beat Ohio State, because Kyle McCord's he's just a guy. He's just a nice college quarterback, game manager type. Give him Marvin Harrison Jr. He can be pretty good, right? Yeah.
So get the money.
I mean, I think you're right, because some of these guys may never make it to the NFL and make the kind of money they're trying to make. But I think I don't like it. I hate these COVID rules and all this nonsense because it's punishing high school kids. Like less high school kids are getting in and getting scholarships. They got all these dreams, and instead of them getting the opportunity to go live out their college dream. They're going JC or not getting a chance because because Bo Nix wants to play 6 years, or because this kid wants to play 7 years in college. And you're like, man, like, get out of college and give these college kids, these high school kids who this system go back in place so that we can have the turnover.
You okay, Keith?
I got the Richard Sherman cough going on.
I think
No, I'm okay now.
the airways.
But what I would say about this, in furthering this, when you look at the kid from UCLA, for instance, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. He's away from home. He's not being developed the way he envisioned being developed by the quarterback coach. So he says, nah, I will never have the opportunity to fulfill my potential if I stay here. I thought it was going to be different. So therefore, I'm going to leave. When you talk about it's hurting the high school kids, Richard, you know who else is hurting? It's hurting the junior colleges as well. Because that was the second opportunity.
Pipeline.
Yes, that was the pipeline for guys that could plug and play right now, come in, take over, and move on. I could go down a long laundry list of dominant players that went to junior college that went on to the next level, and now all of a sudden that's dried up because coaches say, I can go on the portal and I can get a kid that'll do exactly what I need him to do, and I got him for 4 years opposed to 2.
Yep. Great discussion. Up next, Rachel Nichols joins me to break down last night's in-season tournament quarterfinals and tonight's Suns at Lakers.
Nice try, Richard.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.